All right. Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's American Canadian School of Medicine webinar. This is specifically for students in Puerto Rico who have questions, want to know the process, want to speak to a current student from Puerto Rico who is on our campus, and also listen to our founder, Dr. Arvin Bagherpour. My name is Maria, and I'm going to go ahead and put my contact information here for you. Please take a photo of that or just write down the information. I welcome you to contact me at any point with questions if you have them. So please feel free to drop in the comment section where in the world you are. Tell us, obviously, Puerto Aldo. I know somebody here is from Puerto Rico, but not currently in Puerto Rico. So let us know where you are on the island. I was just there a couple of weeks ago, and I went from San Juan to Mayagüez. So I was all over. All right, so let's get started. I am honored to introduce Dr. Arvin Bagherpour. He is the visionary founder. Let me get to, there we go. Dr. Arvin Bagherpour is the visionary founder of the American Canadian School of Medicine, and it is under his leadership that ACSOM is dedicated to producing highly skilled future doctors ready to make a meaningful impact in the world. So, Dr. Arvin Bagherpour, welcome. Thank you so much for giving us your time this evening.
Hello. Hi, everybody down in Puerto Rico. Thank you, Maria and Javier, for joining us today, and I appreciate everybody's time. I'm just going to take about 10 minutes of your time to just give you a quick introduction of why American Canadian School of Medicine was formed. I would like to introduce myself. I am the founder of ACSOM. I'm a board certified radiologist, and I'm a vascular and interventional radiologist. They will share my TikTok channel with you at the end, and you can see what type of cool procedures and types of surgeries that I do. I put stents into people's bodies. Oh, we have it right here. Why don't we just go ahead and push play?
Okay, we'll have Jennifer hit play on that. Thank you.
ER. All right, so I went to the ER and the patient has a bleeding. So they asked me to go in and embolize it. That means stop the bleeding without cutting them open. We go into the catheterization lab to do that.
Coil this with two.
At this point, a coil is being deployed and checking if blood can get past the coils to stop the bleeding within the distal artery, supplying the blood flow to the tumor that's bleeding. Right here, we're correlating with the CT, looking for a bleed deep down in the pelvis. Here it is. Now we inject it with contrast to see if there's bleeding on the other side. So that surgery took about 2.5 hours, or I should say procedure and angiography, and we're done. The bleeding stopped. These are the type of great things you're going to learn at American Canadian School of Medicine. All right. There was my little pitch of what I do inside the hospital. I do a lot more than that, but I also read imaging, but mostly I do procedures. I do all the biopsies in the hospital. I put stents into people. I do a lot of trauma work. I work with internal medicine doctors quite closely, and I work with all the ER providers as well as the ICU. I put in all the central lines, and I do stroke intervention. I take clots out of people's heart, and I also get to do some really cool things that aren't emergencies. I get to do cancer treatments directly to tumors and all sorts of things. With that said, I'm not saying that to brag about myself. I'm saying that I have went to a Caribbean medical school myself, and I'm showing you the end result of what I started with and where I ended with. I went to the University of Texas. I went to a state institution like many of you all do. And then from there, I went to a Caribbean medical school. And then from that, I went on to do my residency in general surgery for my internship in New York City and Beth Israel. Then I went to the University of Texas at San Antonio. I did my fellowship at Cleveland Clinic. Cleveland Clinic is one of the top programs in the world. And just to show you that if you have a will and you want to do this, you can do it. And you don't have to go to the prestigious Ivy League institutions or your big state schools to achieve your dreams. So through that pathway, though, I learned an incredible amount. I saw what my counterparts that were getting their education in the United States were getting. My brother is an interventional radiologist. You saw him in part of the surgery working with me. We did both arteries at the same time, so we worked on opposite sides. And I got strong feedback both through my post-secondary training when I did my residency of how my training on my undergraduate, meaning my medical school part, should have been, and it should have been drastically different. And I want to just talk to you a little bit about that. One, I graduated with an astronomical amount of student loan debt. When I finished school, going to the big Caribbean schools, I graduated with $458,000 worth of loans. And that's not unique to me. Unique to me, that's also been published out there with an average amount of debt graduating from a Caribbean school. That will not happen to you at ACSOM. In fact, you'll graduate with a fraction of that, and most students get 30 to 40% scholarships as they go through. And if you keep good grades, you can get even more. In addition to that, I wanted to make a drastic change in the way that the school was funded and founded. So I made the very first nonprofit medical school in the Caribbean. It's the only nonprofit medical school in the Caribbean. We only account to you, the student. We don't account to shareholders like the other schools in the Caribbean, that some of which are publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. We don't account to private equity firms. We are a school built by physicians for future physicians. And our singular goal is to produce the highest quality doctors that can exist, that come with the lowest amount of cost and the highest amount of like excellent education that we can give you. Classes in the Caribbean are traditionally taught in large lecture halls, not at our school. You are not going to be taught in a large lecture hall. Learning in a large lecture hall was good for college, but it is not good for modern day medicine. In fact, all your classes are taught.
Uh-oh. I think we may have lost Dr. Bagherpour. Let's give him a couple seconds to get back on. If not, we can continue. I do want to remind you, if you are just joining us, welcome, first of all, but please drop in the comments where you are, whether you're in Puerto Rico or somewhere else in the United States. I see Andres Shali is in Virginia. So welcome. I did receive your questions, so we'll be addressing those as well. Okay, so let's move on, and then we can come back to Dr. Bagherpour if he's able to join. Oh.
Hey, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody called, my phone got disconnected. Where was the last time you guys heard me, Maria?
We heard you, or you were just saying how there's a will and, for them to continue.
You didn't hear anything about the school?
No, we did for sure. You talked about the lecture halls.
Okay, so that's where I left off. All right, great. So at the other schools are taught in large lecture halls. That's okay for your undergraduate, but that is not okay, and that's not how modern day curriculum in U.S. medical schools is taught. At Vanderbilt, at Mount Sinai, at Yale, at UC California, at all the big schools in the United States, they're taught in small classrooms. They're not taught in these large lecture halls. Lecture at the other schools are taught predominantly by PhDs. And in fact, my pathology class was taught by a veterinarian. That is unacceptable. Again, let's not forget that these other institutions are set up in a manner to where they're made to make the most profit, not to produce the best quality doctor, which ultimately makes patient experience and your experience the best. So all our classes are taught by medical doctors. You're going to break off into a small group session after you have a small lecture by an expert faculty member. And those small group sessions are between 1 and 10 students in one class with one professor. And that professor is an MD, and they have clinical context. So you also won't be learning in a style that's taught in old school medicine, which is traditionally histology, pathology, pharmacology, biochemistry broken up. That does not happen. It's all integrated. So if you're going to be learning about something, you're going to have context. And why is that important? Context is how you remember things. If we just tell you to memorize something, you're barely going to remember it past the test. If we teach you a context that a patient has cystic fibrosis, this is how that patient presents with cystic fibrosis. This is the genetic characteristics. It's autosomal recessive, why it's like that. What is the underlying pathology? The sodium chloride channel has a problem, so on and so forth. You are going to remember that for your boards, for your tests, and then when you get to your wards, because that doctor that's taught you this has seen it, has treated it, and is able to give you context. Likewise, probably none of you all remember the Krebs cycle. You're like, what is the Krebs cycle? Well, it's going to be tested again and again in your life. But when you learn it in the context of mitochondrial disorders and diseases, you will remember it because we will teach you in a way that you remember it. So that's really important. Moving on beyond the academics infrastructure on your first 2 years, which are done in Dominica, and then the overall nonprofit status of the university, it's really important to talk about the end game here, your clinical rotations. Right now, our clinical rotations are set up in Los Angeles, but in addition to that, we have soon to be announced great rotations at Yale Bridgeport Hospital. We're working on a contract with them. And additionally, we're working on a contract with Cleveland Clinic. Those aren't inked yet, but we're in deep discussions, and we have the contracts, and we're working back and forth to finalize those. So by the time you all are in school, you will have the opportunity to go to one of the best institutions to learn and hospital systems. You'll be able to do electives at Cleveland Clinic, hopefully, where that entails you to be able to show yourself and present yourself to the residency programs that will be choosing you, getting those letters of recommendations, and likewise up in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And if you want to do electives at other hospital systems, you're going to be assigned a mentor when you get into your clinical years. And that mentor's job is to help guide you through the pathway of doing your residency, getting ready for residency, your application, and picking out those electives that you need. Also, when you apply for residency, we are going to go above and beyond anybody else because those other universities are not physician based. We're going to pick up the phone. We're going to call those program directors for you, and we're going to work hard, and we're going to make sure that you get what you're looking for. And we're going to coach you and guide you. You may want to be a neurosurgeon, and we're going to encourage you to become a neurosurgeon. But the reality is, one or two foreign graduates from the Caribbean will become a neurosurgeon. That's not too unheard of because maybe 40% of people that apply for neurosurgery at the United States programs will only get a residency in neurosurgery. So our job is to ensure that you don't just apply to neurosurgery, but we guide you through the other pathways that'll work for you and make sure you have appropriate letters of recommendations for that. When it comes to state licensures and things like that, many of these universities that never had a practicing physician go for a state licensure. I've got over 9 or 10 state licenses, and I understand uniquely what it takes to get a state license. When I graduated from Ross University, when I finished my residency, I could not get a Texas license. I was so disappointed after spending $450,000. Why couldn't I get a Texas license? They put me in a rotation that was not accredited in all things radiology, what I became, a radiologist. This Texas Medical Board told me you can go back to medical school and repeat 6 weeks of radiology. That sounded ridiculous to me. Fortunate for me, I was able to get board certified and it trumped that rotation. But some residencies in some fields, you can't get board certified till after you've been out for a certain number of years. So we are uniquely attuned to make sure as you go through this pathway that you will not go through the same struggles that I and other people that have graduated from the Caribbean, we've all were successful, but there's a better way to it. And the better way is based on academics, better rotations, cheaper, high number of scholarships, because our goal is to support you. And now I want to just say a few words about living in Dominica. From Puerto Rico, it's only about an hour and a half away. It's beautiful, it's calm, it's serene, there's no distractions, it's safe. Housing is inexpensive. Your financial aid covers your housing. Most people will be awarded a large scholarship as well because our goal is to get you to the end, to get you to a residency, get you to your future. Is not to take your pocketbook, take in your bank accounts, go after your financial aid. We are not like the others. We're drastically different. And that's really important that I want to get across from you. And all of you guys here are getting my phone number and my email. I encourage you. You're at different stages of your career right now in education, from being a freshman to being a senior. Reach out to me, text me. You can get in touch with me, and I can guide you and help you. Whether you come to ACSOM or going somewhere else, I'm available. We'll help you, give you guidelines of how to study for school, how to do these different things, and it's really important. And the last thing I'll tell you is if you haven't applied and you can't apply, please apply. We want you. We think that you're going to be a great person to be part of our university. You met Maria, you met Mr. Nasiri Ramin when he was down there in Puerto Rico, likely, and we're here to be your guides. We're not here to sell you something. We're here to show you that there's another way that's just not what everybody's known. Not to say that the Caribbean has not been a tried and true pathway for decades, and over 100,000 people have graduated from the Caribbean system and became great doctors. There's just always something better, and ACSOM is the better option. So thank you all for your time. I just talked a little fast because I really want to make sure I have time for you to hear from our current student who is from Puerto Rico, and he can give you his input. But again, you have my phone number, you have my email, and thank you all very much. You're joining a great profession, no matter which direction you take. Everybody here was incredibly proud of you, and they one day you may be our doctor. So with Godspeed, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bagherpour. All right, so moving on, let's talk a little bit about Javier Maldonado. He is our fabulous student from Puerto Rico. He graduated from Interamericana. Javier, welcome, welcome. Thank you again so much for being here with us. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your story.
Sure. Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Dr. Bagherpour. I was born, raised in Puerto Rico. So I did all of my, I have two bachelors. I did two of them in Puerto Rico. And then when I was in Puerto Rico, I did a certificate in orthopedic technician, and that is where I become in love with the profession. So then I was in a little struggle, how I gonna do it, if I'm capable. So I have so many doubts. So then I decided that I think it's a big step to basically make the decision. And here I am. And I think this is one of the best decisions that I ever made. And I encourage every student that not have that fear because everyone is capable. You just have to give it a shot and try. So basically, that's a little bit about my history. My first language is Spanish. Second is English. Um, what else? I have my mother and I have a younger sister. And yeah, besides that, I love to be in the Caribbean. As you know, I love the food. I love the culture right here in Dominica. So yeah, that's a little bit about a little summary about my history and my journey pathway.
Graduate from Interamericana.
Excuse me?
2021. You graduated from your bachelor's in 2021, was it?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, very good. And tell us about your experience at school, on campus, integrating with your fellow students. What are the classes like? Dr. Bagherpour mentioned, obviously your education is our priority. How do the class sizes impact your learning?
Sure. So one of the best thing that made me do take that decision basically was the 10 for 1 ratio. So basically, it's not like our typical medical school when you have 100 student or 200 student at the classroom, and basically impacts you in every single way because, for example, if you have a question or if the doctor basically have to take more time explain you the topic, they are willing to do that. So that is one of the key things that make me do or make me do like take that decision, first of all. Secondly, the environment right here in Dominica, like Dr. Bagherpour was saying, is like no distraction at all. So I love that environment, to be honest. And besides that, our typical day in ACSOM is basically from 8 to 9. We have a guest speaker from United States. They are medical doctor in several specialties. It would depend on the model that you are currently are. Then after that, from 9 to 12, we go to the small class session where we discuss the topics. Then from 12 to 1, we take a lunch. Then from 1 to 3, we have usually anatomy or ICM. It would depend on the course. So basically, that's our typical day. And then after that, you can study and you can prepare for the next day material. And every single Friday, we took a formative for the previous material to see what are you standing, or if you don't understand about a topic, you can go to the faculty and ask about some question that you have.
Okay, fabulous. So we do have some questions. The first one that came in was, how was the transition process of moving from Puerto Rico to a completely, so this person thinks it's far, it's debatable. I don't think it's too far from Puerto Rico. What was the process like from moving, like the transition itself?
Well, for me, it was very easy. It was very light because like from Puerto Rico to Dominica is 1 hour and 30 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. The temperature, the people, the culture is pretty similar. So to be honest, it was not like big of a deal, if you ask me. Like everything, like in terms of climate, temperature, food, the people, how we are, and how we compare Dominica with Puerto Rico is pretty similar. So it was not a big drastic change, to be honest.
Okay, and you have your own apartment.
Yes, that's correct. So there are several complexes right here near the campus, and there's a variety that you can choose on.
Okay, perfect. And then we also have access to a hotel in the vicinity where you can use the gym facilities and the swimming pools. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so the school have a alliance with one hotel in right here in Dominica. So we have the gym services with them. So every single day you can go to the gym, I think from 5 to 10, if I'm not mistaken, and including, if I'm not mistaken, the weekends. So the gym have pretty good facilities. The machines are in top of the condition, so it's very beautiful. It's pretty close, and the security campus from the school, they take you, so you won't be able to have a problem in the transportation system.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So another question is, what inspired you about ACSOM that helped you determine you wanted to go to ACSOM? So when you were still, applying to medical schools, what was it that finally made you decide to apply to ACSOM?
Well, good question. Two things. First of all, the 10-1 ratio. Secondly, the fact that every single module we have a guest speaker from different specialty. And I think thirdly is when Dr. Bagherpour called me. We had a chat and it was so grateful, and I was like, okay, so I have to do it. So I think those three things were key to make my decision.
Okay. And where in the process are you? Like, what semester are you in? How close are
Sure.
you to finishing?
Sure. So I'm currently running in my second year. So I just finishing this first semester of the second year. We have one more semester in the island. Once we finish this semester, we are going to prepare for the step one. Once we pass the step one, we're gonna do the other 2 years in United States. So we are pretty close to take the step and to go to the United States. So pretty exciting.
You are very close. Congratulations. That's
Thank
exciting.
you. Thank
So
you.
when you do become a physician very soon here, are you going back to Puerto Rico or where are you seeing yourself practicing medicine?
Uh, to be honest, that's a good question. I have not figured out right now, but my dreams, if you ask me right now, is to go back and Puerto Rico or retire or finish in Puerto Rico. That's one of my dreams that I have like in mind.
Okay, great. In your college, were the classes taught bilingual? Was it 100% English? What was that process like?
No, it was in Puerto Rico. All of the classes are taught in Spanish. Now I think they're moving through bilingual, if I'm not mistaken. But in my times, all of them were taught in Spanish. Right here in ACSOM, everything is bilingual. So from the transition, and to me, to be honest, it's not that kind of hard.
Okay, good. That was my question. Like, what was that transition, sitting
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, in Puerto Rico, the second language is English, but now the new generation are more exposed to the English than my generation, so it's more easy to be honest.
Okay.
And if I can do it, everyone can do it.
Great. Thank you so much. How is your family? How do they feel about you being in Dominica?
Oh, they're pretty excited actually. I tried to call them almost like a few couple of days, so they're pretty excited. They just want to be honest. They just want to see me with the white coat and you know what I mean, like specialize and enter to a residency. So they're pretty excited. They are waiting for me to go to the United States so they can visit me sometime. So they are pretty excited, especially my youngest sister.
That's great. Very good. Hopefully she'll join us at ACSOM too someday. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. I hope so.
So this webinar is recorded, and I know that a lot of advisors in Puerto Rico and professors will be watching it so they can learn more about ACSOM and how to advise students. Do you have any words for them? Anything you can suggest to the advisors or professors, or just let them know about?
To be honest, yes, obviously, like this is a new opportunity, not even for like general student, but specifically to Puerto Rico students. I will send you my contact and my phone number. So if they have some doubts or question, they can reach it to me. I don't mind. I'm more than glad to be able to help them. And even including faculty or instructors, if they have any question about the program or they have some doubts, I'm here just to help you and to achieve or be a little bit of key in their journey or in the pathway. Because I know at the beginning it's a little bit challenging because they can think, oh, this is a big decision or what, but I'm here for that. So if they feel or they can ask me whatever question, I'm here for it.
Thank you, Javier. That's very generous of you. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I know I read a few questions I had received via text. If you have any questions, folks that are watching from home, feel free to drop them in the comments section. We will go over additional information about the admissions process. But if you have any questions specifically for Javier, please drop them. Don't be shy. You can also ask in Spanish, right? Javier, you can say
Sure.
a few words in Spanish to them.
Claro que sí, a la orden. Estamos aquí y cualquier cosita van a tener mi número, van a tener mi nombre, cualquier pregunta, cualquier duda, estamos para servirle.
Thank you so much. Wonderful.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're going to move on with the admissions process. Javier is going to hang on too. So if we have any questions towards the end, we'll address them at that point. Thank you, Javier. Okay, my friends. So the admissions process, we're going to review that now for you. These are the requirements. You will need to have your bachelor's degree completed. The major does not matter. What does matter is that you have the course requirements, the prerequisites. You're going to need 2 semesters of biology with lab, 2 semesters of chemistry with lab, 1 semester of organic chemistry, 1 math, and 1 physics. So that is the like minimum requirements when it comes to sciences. Obviously, the more advanced science courses you have in addition to this, the better, but these are the bare minimums when it comes to the sciences. In addition to that, you're going to need 2 letters of recommendation, your personal statement, which is very important. It's an introduction of yourself to the admissions committee. So, write what motivates you, what has inspired you. Tell us anything we need to know. If you had any challenges, any obstacles, don't be shy. This is a great opportunity to brag about yourself, right? And talk about your accomplishments. And in addition to that, you will need the MCAT. The MCAT is mandatory. We do have another program. I'm going to talk about it in a little bit, but the MCAT is mandatory. It's necessary for the MD program. And then you will receive an invitation to interview with the admissions committee via Zoom, basically. And it's about an hour-long interview. It's very important. They're going to ask you questions about your academic past, behavioral questions as well. So it's a great opportunity for you to ask them questions also. So don't be shy about that. Now, when you apply, you only need to fill out the application on our website. There's no cost for it. It is free. You need to be close to completing your bachelor's if you haven't completed it yet. And you do need the requirements, the classes, the prerequisites, and your unofficial transcripts. Everything else, the letters of recommendation, the personal statement, we can collect along the way. But to start the initial application, we will just need you to complete the application and submit your unofficial transcripts. That's all you need in the beginning. We also accept the common application. So if you have filled out, like a COMAS, or there's a different selection of them, we will accept those as well. Again, there's no fee for the application. So again, all you need to do to apply is submit your application, either the common application or ours, and your unofficial transcripts. Now, we do have another program called Prep for Success. This is an alternate pathway for you. If you took the MCAT and your score is not as high as everybody would like it to be, or if you have not taken the MCAT and you're not taking the MCAT for whatever reason, you can complete one semester of Prep for Success on our campus. You do need to be on campus. It is essentially one semester of medical school, but it's decelerated. So it's easier to digest, easier to integrate into your studies. If you complete it successfully, you will automatically be accepted into our medical school program. Automatically accepted. And you also will receive a $15,000 scholarship. So when I was in Puerto Rico a couple of weeks ago, I did talk to a lot of students whose MCAT scores weren't so high. Standardized testing can be very difficult. So this would apply to you. If you have all the prerequisites, you can apply for Prep for Success. It is 19 weeks long. That's a much better option than going and getting a master's, for example, or taking more coursework. So it's shorter, you're learning, you're on campus, and you also get a $15,000 scholarship. So I highly recommend Prep for Success. Okay. In addition to that, we're talking about tuition as well. We are a nonprofit medical school, like Dr. Bagherpour mentioned. So tuition is approximately 20% less than a lot of other medical schools. And the majority of our students do get some sort of scholarship. We have amazing scholarships. Years 1 and years 2, your tuition will each be $50,000. So $50,000 year 1, $50,000 year 2. Years 3 and 4 will each be $57,000. We do have a financial aid office, and they will assist you with the entire process. So don't worry about it. We don't want the finances to keep you from pursuing your dream. So don't let that. This is an estimate of cost. In addition to the tuition, you have your living expenses. We also calculated flights to and from Dominica. And these are all just, estimates. They're not obviously concrete numbers, because depending on where you're flying from, et cetera. We also calculated health insurance, miscellaneous expenses. So these are the total costs. But again, they're estimates. Okay. Again, we do have a financial aid office. They are extremely happy and available to assist you with any questions that you have, and just initiating the process itself. When you submit your application, you will automatically be considered for our scholarships. So you do not need to fill anything else out in addition to the application to be considered for your scholarships. Okay, and these are the list of scholarships we offer. We do have some significant scholarships that will even cover year 1 and year 2 completely. So that is a possibility depending on your GPA and your MCAT score. So, let us assess your transcripts and your application, and then we'll be able to guide you when it comes to finances. But don't let finances, which obviously, it's a lot of money, it's an investment, but we want to make that possible for you. We want to make it feasible for you. Okay, and this is the QR code to the application itself. Go ahead and grab your phone and scan it. Fill out your application tonight. If you're able to, send me a text and let me know that you already have. I know we have a couple of people watching that have already submitted their application, so that's very exciting. Thank you. And you can just go to our website as well to fill out the application. So I want to go ahead and take it back to Javier and see if you had any final words or any additional thoughts that came into your mind that you wanted to add, or any final words to leave them with.
I'm glad that a lot of students are watching this, and I encourage for them to make a big step. Don't be afraid, and I'm here to help them and to support them. I know it's a long process, but at the end, it will be worth it. It's about the people that need us. We are lack of physicians, especially in Puerto Rico. So I encourage them to make that decision. They won't regret it at all. And I'm here to help them. If they have any question, I'm here for them.
Thank you so much, Javier. I appreciate that. So this webinar, again, is recorded. Please share the link with your friends, your family, give it to your professors, your advisors. I will also be available to come to your campus to give your pre-med organizations presentations or meet with your advisors. So we're very accessible. Please reach out to us with any questions at all. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate having you here. And we, like Javier said and Dr. Bagherpour said, we very much are excited for your future. And we're here to help make your dream of becoming a physician a reality. Thank you so much. Thank you, Javier.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you, Santi.